Hi, I'm James Gurney, and I'm at the home of toy collector and inventor Mel Birnkrant, who's going to show me the greatest action figure that never was, MAXx FX. So Mel, this is the presentation case.
Yes.
What are we going to see inside?
You're going to see all that remains. This is the coffin, the joint coffin of MAXx FX. all of his
The birthplace.
the birth and death place.
Of the
actually.
stillborn action figure.
He was presented in this case, and here he lies.
And what's the concept of this action figure? It looks like a bunch of monsters.
Well, the concept was this is MAXx FX in person, and he is an ordinary human being, but he was a special effects and makeup expert. And there was something very special about his makeups because when he donned one, he took on the powers of the creature he was portraying.
So these are like superhero powers that come out of his work in the movie business.
Absolutely. He could become any one of these things that he had the magic, the makeup for. And so he would fight crime and do what superheroes do. And because he had to be adaptable to all kinds of makeups, he had to have removable hair so that could be replaced. And all in all, he was a very cool guy. Now I'm going to replace him with one of his surrogates.
Okay. And these are basically G.I. Joe size action figures.
These are G.I. Joe action figures, period.
Right. And instead of like Barbie putting on a costume, he's actually putting on the monster prosthetics.
Absolutely.
And what are we going to start with?
Well, that was the origin of him, actually. It was an attempt to make Barbie for boys.
Now, who is MAXx turning into here?
MAXx
I could guess.
is now halfway. You notice, this looks like my blue jeans. He's halfway into, let me put it this way, the full moon is rising.
He looks like a fashion model for some ski resort.
Yes.
Trying on a weird
Oh, wait a minute.
jacket.
Let's put this on.
Okay, now he's starting to get that kind of big chest.
Yeah, he's looking less fashionable, I hope. Let's get this on. Can you guess what he's going to be?
Okay,
his hand
is changing.
His hand is.
And we all remember in the movies those transformations in the original, like the Wolfman movies or the American Werewolf. They were incredible moments in the film.
Yes, they
and
were.
That's kind of what's happening with an action figure.
That's what's happening here, and just like in those movies, you see the hands and the feet first. There we go.
Okay.
And then we get that famous scene where you pan down to his feet. And if I can do this with my left hand, we'll clip this in place. These models haven't been handled for a long time, and they seem to be cooperating.
Let's hold them out here, we can.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go.
All of a sudden
he's getting there.
His head is still MAXx.
Do his little crouch.
And that's MAXx with 2 X's.
All right.
The hands are longer.
Now then, he puts on his lower jaw.
And these are made out of one-of-a-kind sculpts out of Super Sculpey?
Super Sculpey.
Which is, the formula is not as good now as it was then, right?
In these days, Super Sculpey was the sculptural equivalent of a pencil.
Yeah.
Super Sculpey was to a sculptor what a pencil would be to somebody like yourself.
Oh, that's incredible.
Now, did I get this right?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, with a movable jaw.
Now he's ready to go.
So in the backstory, you were thinking, he actually kind of becomes the powers.
He becomes the monster. Whoa.
Got it.
Sorry, Max. Well, he's cool like that too. I don't know.
Well, I had a kind of jaw-dropping moment there too.
That's a good one. And then these costumes would be packed in a movie cassette.
Oh yeah. Which is the way you watch movies back then.
Yes, so
you
would get the one figure and then you'd buy the cassettes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is so dated. Jesus. And this shows the scene of him baying at the moon.
MAXx Miracle, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's fantastic.
He was called MAXx Miracle to begin with. He got named MAXx FX, which is one of the improvements that the company that collaborated this added, which I think was an improvement.
So let's see some of the other transformations.
Okay, well, another transformation that I really liked, I loved this character as a kid, is the Mummy.
The Mummy, wow.
And the Mummy, you never actually saw the Mummy in the first movie.
It's all the build-up.
You just saw his mummy wrappings going out the door. But in the later films, you saw the Mummy. And he always had this characteristic, I don't know if I can do this backwards, one hand was always stuck to his chest and the other was always out like that. And he sort of dragged one foot and he goes,
yeah, all in the way he walked. They didn't have to move fast to be scary.
I don't know how he could move so damn slow. Nobody could outrun him.
But how did you
It
deal
always
with
mystified me.
the fact that, I mean, you want an action figure to move, but at the same time you're dealing with a stiff material like
Well,
Sculpey.
because it only fit onto the moving parts.
Yeah.
So it never froze him in his action.
And this is just cotton cloth sewn on with the mummy
Yeah, this is a little suit.
printed on.
I didn't even sew this suit. I don't know what it came from, but I just
Yeah.
drew a mummy wrappings on it. And he had a fabulous little cassette.
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
It really looked
great
great
lighting.
with-
And you shot that.
Oh
photo,
yeah,
right?
ancient Egypt pine.
Yeah.
This thing was so incredibly overproduced. It was like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay, and in we go. Here's one that I really did like.
This is
He's
Jason,
lost his
right?
foot. This
Yeah.
was Jason,
Oh man, with the hockey mask.
and the feet bent forward so he could put on shoes that made him taller,
Yeah.
and false shoulder pads.
It's
so he could-
terrifying.
and then in every one of these movies, there's always the horrific climactic moment
Yeah.
where the hockey mask is removed.
Yeah, which we
You
got.
ready for this?
Go ahead.
Brace yourself.
Oh my gosh, that's terrifying. Wow.
And it's missing. It's gone. He had, of course, a humongous cleaver in his hand.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was Jason.
And this is like a later generation of movies from the old Universal movies, but did they?
Well,
did you get
actually,
the rights for all
no,
these
actually,
characters?
these are not the Universal characters.
That's what I mean. I mean, so
Yeah.
the Jason and Freddy are later.
I thought the Mummy could be generic.
Hmm.
I thought this is definitely inspired by Werewolf of London or whatever.
Yeah.
But that could be generic. The only ones that weren't generic, and he's not here, was Freddy Krueger and Jason.
Yeah.
And my partners took this product up to Matchbox, mostly because they were in the neighborhood.
Should we look at Frankenstein here too?
Unfortunately. Well, let me show you a couple. Here's
Okay.
here's an original one that I threw in there because I was trying to frame this up in terms of generic
man.
creatures,
Yeah.
so there wouldn't be a double royalty to pay. And besides, I felt the Universal monsters were kind of tame by then. I mean,
Yeah.
they scared me as a kid, but my daughter stood in her playpen at the age of 2 laughing at them on the TV set.
Yeah.
Kids,
Son.
something happened to those monsters from being frightening. They became really, really friendly.
Yeah.
But I was one of those idiot kids who really cheered for the townspeople with torches.
Oh yeah.
And the lab assistants, and all
Yeah.
these minor characters. They were the good guys. These monsters scared the crap out of me. Yeah, I'm going to put him back.
What did you call this guy? The alligator man?
What did I call him? Here we go. The swamp creature.
Swamp
there.
creature. Yeah.
Okay.
The dripping letter.
Oh, here's Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Tremendous.
And then our most elaborate makeup of all was this guy. It was
Yeah.
a caveman.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, there was so much makeup that there was very little Max left there. But because when he put on his arm, he was,
Yeah.
forgive the pun, disarming.
No, he
And,
really looks powerful.
and then this thing here,
Wow.
him off.
And it's made with fake fur and Sculpey and just
I hope
you
it's
just
fake.
sculpt it literally right over. You put saran wrap or something over
No, the Sculpey
G.I.
won't
Joe?
stick to anything.
Won't
I
stick,
just,
okay.
well, these aren't G.I. Joe heads. These are heads that I sculpted.
Okay.
But the bodies are all G.I.
That is
Joe.
a great face.
And he had a club,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. My partners sold this thing to, of all people, Matchbox. Everybody knows Matchbox. They're
The cars, right? The
company,
British
yeah, they're British cars, but they had an American branch, and the American branch made very mediocre toys, and they bought our product, and they didn't have a clue what to do with it.
Yeah. So for a toy to be successful, it has to work at every stage, from the first concept to the design of it, to the sculpt, the manufacturing, the marketing,
advertising.
and all the way down the line. And the whole team has to understand what your concept was.
Absolutely. And then if it's a major company of any sort, there would have to be a commercial.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of steps, and the more steps there are, the more chances there are for it to go right or to go wrong. In the case of Matchbox, it went horribly wrong. Their decision to do a talking Freddy doll,
Yeah.
which basically you take this doll to bed and you wake up dead.
Right.
like every other teenager who ever encountered Freddy in their nightmares. But you can have a nightmare on your own street. You don't have to live on Elm Street.
And when this toy came out, there was actually a letter writing campaign of people trying to ban
Not
it, right?
this toy, but the talking Freddy.
Talking one. Yeah, that was,
So here we had a toy that said to kids, "This is safe, kids. This is how it's done. It's only makeup."
yeah.
They come out with something that's a real serial killer,
Right.
who was the spawn of a nun raped by 50
Yeah.
madmen, went through life murdering teenagers every night of their life, and you take it to bed with you, and it says, "Are you ready for Freddy?" And then it eats your soul.
Well, from the point of view of being a toy inventor, what can you say to people who want to do this kind of work or other kinds of work where you've got to work with a team that carries your idea through? How do you deal with the disappointment of seeing a great idea like this that gets messed up in its execution?
Well, the disappointment is something you learn to deal with, because the first one really hurts. But after the 100th time, the phone would ring every day and there'd be more bad news.
Yeah.
But every once in a while there was good news. Good news is someone bought the idea. They'll give you an advance and a guarantee.
Yeah.
And you can live on that.
Right.
And so I lived on booby prizes a lot of the time.
And with Outer Spaceman and some of your other toys that became big hits, it definitely is great to see those all the way through.
We're sitting the results of the Outer
Right.
Spaceman selling.
Well, thanks to you having these original prototypes and sharing with me and with the audience today. They live again to haunt us in our dreams.
Only to die again.
To die again. Thank you very much, Mel.
You're welcome.